Hello everyone, welcome to the channel, or welcome back. Today we're going to be going over Tier 11 Prebis and Tier 11 BiS in Cataclysm Classic. Hope you enjoy. Alright, let's get straight into it. There's two things I want to say off the rip. One of them, both of these sets and the third set we're going to be going over today are going to be in the description below. They have all the talents and glyphs and all the enchants, so they should be good to go, plug and play. And they should have the right amount of spell hit to get you going. The reforging is not going to be perfect. I had to do all of this manually because there's no easy reforge light. And you have to remember that around 40% of your secondary stats can be retooled into something else. So a lot of this gear is kind of what can you get with the highest eye level so you get the most in possible. Now let's get straight into it. Now starting with this right set, this is a lazy man set with one BOE belt and one NG item. The rest are reputation items or farmable with justice points or in dungeons. So if you don't want to spend any gold, you don't want to do archaeology, this right set for week 1 is for you. This isn't perfect, but it's going to get you in a strong foundation when you're getting to the raid. This set on the left is every BOE you could possibly get in full Prebis after people have been in the raid. This is a raid BOE. This is a raid BOE. This is not a raid BOE, but there's a raid BOE chest as well. So this is going to be your super tryhard set, and this is going to be your week 1 set. If you look at the spell power, I mean, it's the left set is 500 more. The sim isn't perfect yet, so we can't 100% know what the difference will be here, but 500 spell power isn't a small amount, and then you have your crit, haste, and mastery are probably going to be a lot different, but I mean, if you need to get a set, this right set is very solid. Now, I'm going to use this left set for the majority of the Prebis side, and that's because this is what people want to see. This is the Prebis. You're not going to get any helm better than the goggles. The only other helms are blue dungeon goggles, which nobody really wants to use these blue helms when you have such a powerful thing as the NG helm, and you can put whatever gems you want in here, haste or mastery, but the 208 hit really goes a long way. The neck, there's a few 359 necks, I believe, with int on them, but this Dorian's is a world drop, which is a pain in the butt, so I elected to use the yellow smoke pendant because it's a reputation and a little bit easier to get. You just throw on the tabard and go. And there's not really any other competition for this slot. There's some blues, but all the blues are kind of around the same. Shoulders, there's a bunch of 346 blue shoulders that you can get from dungeons. You kind of just pick up whichever one you can grab and you get running with it. The cloak, there is a nice world drop. That's a 359, but before that, this periwinkle cloak is very, very solid, and you would retool some of that haste or mastery into hit. Or this shallow perfect bliss is pretty okay. We don't want that crit, but you know, if that's all you can get, that's all you can get. Now you can buy your chest from the vendor for 2200 Valor. There's also the Diz's Whirling Robe, which is a world drop, which is very solid as well. We don't like that crit. We would probably retool that into some hit. And if you don't want to wait for this Valor, there's a Justice Point chest that is very solid. This Mastery Haste chest is very slept on if you don't want to wait to get this, obviously. And there's a few other 346 chests that you'll find in Heroics that will tide you over until you can get your Valor chest. There's not a lot of bracer options, I'll be honest. This is a BOE from Bastion and Twilight, and it's very good. But before you get this, before people start farming the raid, there's going to be this Sand Silk wristband from the Lost City of Tolvir, and that's kind of it besides this armband of the Exiled Architects. There's only 2 of them, and Last Boss of Deadmines and Lost City of Tolvir. This one's going to be easy to farm, and the hit's going to serve you well, but it's a crit mastery or a crit hit option, and I'd rather go for the crit hit option because the wrist piece isn't usually a large hub of a secondary, so I would go for these Sand Silk wristbands. Weapon, the Seared Spire Staff is very, very good. I think it's if you can't get the archaeology weapon, this is what I'm going to go for. There's also a BOE, very awful Spirit Staff if you want to be extremely lazy and you have a lot of gold. I would not recommend this. I would recommend farming the Seared Spire Staff. There's a few other good weapons as well. There's also a World Drop Dagger, but Blizzard just put a blue post out that this isn't going to be in the game for a little bit. So this is going to be down the line. The archaeology staff is by far the easiest thing to grab. There's a few other 346 staves. This isn't that good. It has spirit on it. The soul releaser also has spirit on it. So the staves are not in a great place. But if you want to do a main hand, offhand, Mode Guts Blade and I believe the Hermit's Lamp are very solid as a main hand, offhand combo. But again, we want the archaeology staff. Gloves, these are rep gloves. You should just get these. In the meantime, there's some 346s that drop from heroics, and even these Dragon Ball Clan honored gloves are okay. But these are very easy to get. You should have no problem getting them just by farming heroics. Dreamless Belt is the best belt, and it's not close because it's hit mastery for us. But if you don't want to get this Stratosphere Belt is basically the same exact thing, but it's a blue from Vortex Pinnacle. So go and grab this if you want a poor man's version of the Dreamless Belt. Shadow Flame leggings you can buy off the vendor for 2200 Valor. If you want a pay pig option, Flame Ascended pantaloons are solid. And same with the Breaches of Mended Nightmare. The Breaches of Mended Nightmare might be a little bit better than the Flame Ascended pantaloons because it has the haste on it, and you could retool the crit into mastery or hit. If you don't want to buy the BOE or wait for these Valor Point options, there are a few 346s that you can get from heroics, which are solid. Boots, again, another very easy exalted. Just go and run your heroics. You will get these. It's like a free 359. If you want a pay pig option, Valor points, you can buy feet in Cataclysm. So if you have an alt maybe that you don't care about the Valor points, you can farm this early on and toss that on and you'll feel good. And there's 346 options if you don't want to wait for the Exalted or the pay pig option. And I like these slippers of Twilight Prophet. I think they're very solid. Rings. This ring is an archaeology ring, so it's a real big pain in the butt. And Band of Secret Names is from Valor points, and I think it's very solid for a Valor point item. And you could retool that crit on it for something else. There's a lot of blue items that are really good. I think Lavishly Jeweled Ring is probably the best blue ring with that red socket in it for the extra int. And I really like Anthea's ring as well, just mastery hit. And there's a few BOEs. This is a world drop Signet of the Arcanist Savior if you want a pay pig option. And that's about it for rings. Band of Rays is probably one of our worst rings. Spear Creeper's ring is a solid ring. We just don't want crit, right? That's the thing at the end of the day. We just don't want crit. Now for the trinkets, there's a lot of trinket options, and I think Stump of Time is really solid, but I've seen stories about Stump of Time not proccing very hard, so let's take Stump of Time and put it to the side for now. Enters Himmel. If you need hit, this is a really, really good trinket, and the only downside is that it only lasts for 10 seconds when it procs, which is not very great, but we do what we can with what we have, right? Volcano is our best non-hit proc trinket. Like, this is incredibly good. If you can afford it, I would definitely go grab this. It is insane. And if you don't have the money for this trinket is pretty solid. The Tendrils of the Burrowing Dark, it's basically the same thing, except it doesn't have a damage proc associated with it. And it is a little bit harder to proc and has a longer ICD. But if you don't want to buy that, you got this. And then there's the infamous Witching Hourglass, which is solid as well, but it has a haste proc and a splat int, and we love int, so that's great. Now for the wands, this is a world drop from the raid. You won't be seeing these for a little bit. Coilless Baton is a great item. This is the one I'm probably going for if I need the hit. If I don't need the hit, I'll be going for Cookie Stirring Rod, and that's about it. There's not a lot of wand options to play with. Now, that's Prebis. Now let's get into the full Phase 1 BiS. Now, I want to start off with a caveat here that in Tier 11, there is a few items that are going to be very suspicious, and these come from Throne of the Four Winds. There are random enchantment roll items that randomly roll main stat and the 2 secondaries. So if you want full BiS, it's going to be really, really RNG. But since you could reuse a lot of secondaries if you get something that's not mastery haste or hit haste that you'd want to finish your set, a lot of these items are going to be useful regardless, even these random enchantment weapons. So I tried to use the least amount of those as possible, but the items that I'd probably take the random rolls if I had perfect RNG would be the neck, potentially the weapon, potentially the belt, and you almost exclusively need the ring because there's not that many 372 rings in this tier. But moving on from there, let's start with the helmet. You want to put all the 379 items you possibly can because Sinestra is the only boss that drops 379 items. So that includes the helmet and the cloak. There's a random roll cloak and some other cloaks, but this is the best one in my experience. And Helm is the off piece I'm going to use. There are some other off pieces you could use as well with your 4-piece, which include the chest. There's a very solid chest, the Shadow Blaze robe, and the gloves, which are the Hands of the Twilight Council, if you can work those in. There are a few necks. There's Valiona's Medallion, there's the random roll neck, and that is actually kind of it. I thought there was more, but I guess there's not. Shadowflight Mantle, it's very well itemized for us. I wouldn't go for any other shoulder. You either have the tier chest or you use the off-piece 372 with this piece instead. There's only one real pair of bracers. The other bracers are Spirit Mastery, which are very useless to us, and Spirit Haste, which is also useless to us. There are a variety of weapons, but there's the Stormwake, the Tempest Reach would be your random roll item, which could be perfect, could not be. But if you're going for something easier, Incineratus is a lot better. Blade of the Witching Hour is solid as well, but Incineratus has better itemization with that haste instead of that crit. The offhand, I really like Book of Binding Will. Scepter Vice is okay. Obviously, it's not good with the Spirit, but if you just want a 372 offhand, you throw it on and cry about it until you get Book of Binding Will. Or you just try to go for a two-hander. There's not really a lot of comfortable two-handers that I would use. I would really just rather go for the main hand offhand combo. I would steer clear of any staff that you possibly can in the meantime. For gloves, our gloves aren't itemized very well with Mastery Crit, but beggars can't be choosers, so we'll take what we can get if you're completing your 4-piece. Otherwise, you can try to use Hands of the Twilight Council and try to incorporate that if you're going to use the helm in the meantime. Belt, there's only one belt. There's the Belt of Arcane Storms, and then there's the random roll belt from Throne of the Four Winds, which would be called the, oh my god, where is it? Soul Breath Belt, which could be literally anything, which we really hate. In terms of legs, you're going to just want to use your legs for the 4-piece bonus. Flame Pillar legs are a solid option if you don't have them yet. We don't like the crit, but again, beggars can be choosers. There's really not a lot of 372 items here. These are the only 372 boots. You'll probably be using the Ramka Hen boots until you get these, and that's fine. Mastery Haste are a really good itemization. You're praying on a good RNG roll ring. There's really not a lot of rings like Lightning Conductor Manzaji. This is Spirit Crit, which is not good for us. There's a Mastery Crit 379. There's really not a lot of good rigs, so I'm probably going to go for the roll RNG Planetary Band, and Signet of the Fifth Circle is a very good item and is perfectly tailored for us. Now, trinkets are super interesting. I really like Darkmoon Card Volcano, and I really like Bell because it's a spell power proc with a lot of crit that you could retool into something else, and Volcano just has that beautiful int proc and the mastery. If you don't like those trinkets, the only other trinket that I was looking at is Thoralian's Mirror, but if you're doing a mastery pre-pull set and you can't proc this pre-pull, I think that the mastery is kind of wasted because you won't be able to snap it with your meta. So I think Volcano might be better as of right now. If Sims come out or there's a weird interaction with it where it can be better, I'm all ears, but for now, I'm not going to be going for this. I'm going to be going for the Bell and for Volcano. There's not really a variety of amazing trinkets for us that are outside of this. They're for the other classes. I mean, 1900 haste for 10 seconds and a baseline reduction in cost of spells is like nothing. Like, there's not really anything for us, unfortunately. And then lastly is the wand. Now, there's only one other wand, and it has Spirit and Mastery, so we're gonna default probably use the Mastery hit wand. That's BOE, so BOE epic is your BiS at 359, which is unfortunate, but it's kind of how it all it is. And that's about it for now. Again, all the talents and glyphs are on the sets, and there will be a link to the sets in the description below. Hey guys, thanks for making it to the end of the video. There's a lot of question marks with our BiS, but I feel like this is a great place to start, and we can build on it from there. I am pretty excited for Cataclysm. I think tier 11 is going to be very, very good for the Year of the Warlock, and I hope you all continue to follow and maybe comment if you thought something was wrong or right below, and it gives me good feedback to make these sets better and to continue talking about this stuff, making me know that you guys like the content I'm putting out. So thank you very much for watching. I hope to catch you next time. Peace.